Today I'm going to play 100 Days of Stardew Valley, but like every YouTuber, I'm going to force myself to complete goals no one is making me do. The goals I have in mind are completing the community center, getting all the legendary fish, getting the 3 secret statues, and completely upgrading both the barn and the coop. I'm also going to follow my intrusive family member's advice and tie the knot, and I know these aren't groundbreaking goals, but I'm not trying to have a brain aneurysm. So, let's get started. On day 1, I pick up my gift from Lewis of 15 pieces of hay, which I know I'm playing on the Meadows farm, but 15 pieces of hay? That's what you give someone who just got into town with barely enough money to buy 10 potato seeds? After that scam, I meet my new baby chickens and head to Pierre's to get my 10 potato seeds, and after getting my seeds, I'm able to meet everyone in town except Willie and the wizard. On day 2, Willie gives me his old fishing rod, and while fishing is a great way of making money in the early game, it's still my least favorite. But because 2 of my goals require me to fish like my life depends on it, I go to the mountain lake and fish for the entire day. But when I was trying to get home... Are you serious? Are you freaking serious right now, dude? On day 3, Clint was at my door and he gave me the furnace recipe, but I completely ignore him and run to Willie's, where I wait for him to
get your fucking ass up and work.
But when he finally does, I realize I'm broke, so instead I go over to the river and fish for catfish. Spring is basically going to be fishing mania until I get the legend, and if you're wondering why, to catch a legend you have to get to level 10 fishing, and that's not too hard, but what makes it difficult is that you have to catch it on a rainy day in spring. So if it doesn't rain and you don't make it to level 10, you're screwed. Day 4 was just clearing out trees around my house and finally getting the fiberglass rod from Willie and getting salads for energy from Gus. Day 5 is the most important day in Stardew Valley because Marnie gave us a cat, which I named Tackle as a joke about how much fishing I would be doing, but it was so not a joke. Also, the mines are open today, but that doesn't matter because I'm not going. The traveling cart lady did not disappoint today, but I'm completely broke once again, so I decided to go to the beach to pick up some forage. But Lewis thought I had better things to do today, like his job, helping the community, or whatever. But luckily he's an old man and I can't run him. I fixed the bridge to the tide pools and sold what I found to Willie, only to have enough to get the lobster from the traveling cart. On day 6, the wizard tells me there are these things called Junimo, and they want to help rebuild the community center for the low price of all my worldly possessions. Also, I managed to get jump scared by probably the most seen cutscene ever, so... Jesus. Then I get high with the wizard. This dude named Marlin gave me his old rusty sword to defend myself in the mines, and I almost made it to floor 15, but I had low energy, and honestly, being exhausted just makes me angry, so I just went home. Day 7 was another traveling cart day, and another day of being broke. I did harvest my potatoes, so I'm not as broke, until I bought more potatoes and crops for the community center. I then go to the mines and only have a minor panic attack. No. Day 8, I smelted some copper bars and gave Clint my pickaxe to upgrade, and then went fishing at the mountain lake. And on day 9, I went fishing at the mountain lake again and managed to get to level 5. But because I'm an idiot, I accidentally picked Trapper instead of Fisher. So now I have to unlock the sewers and give the stupid dog statue 10,000 gold to fix one of the worst mistakes you can make when playing a game that requires you to get as much money as possible. On day 10, I try to go buy a backpack upgrade from Pierre, but it's Wednesday, and can I just say that it makes no sense for him to be closed any day of the week when he is currently fighting and losing with Joja Mart, and then when Joja closes, he no longer closes on Wednesday? It doesn't make any sense, mathematically, economically, and business-omically. It makes no sense. But whatever. After that, I go to the mountain lake and fish. Day 11, I got the stupid backpack upgrade from stupid Pierre and then went foraging for the community center. I got the spring seeds from the spring foraging bundle and then sold them to Pierre because there's no way I'm going to water those, and I wanted the instant gratification of selling them. Then I went fishing for catfish and sold them to Willie. Day 12, the bookseller arrived, and it's now a habit of mine to always buy the price catalog because it always makes me happy to know how much something costs. And after I get my copper pick from Clint, I bought some iron ore and fished while I waited for the iron to smelt. I did this so I could make the bait maker in order to get more catfish, and considering the horrible mistake I made, I'm gonna need all the money I can get. I also got a pomegranate from the traveling cart. Day 13 and 14 I lost footage for, but all I really did was go to the egg hunt and get 10 strawberry seeds. Then on day 14, I got cheese from the traveling cart and got to level 40 in the mines. Day 15 was raining, so I went fishing, but on day 16, Demetrius gives me the choice between mushrooms and fruit bats. And if I wasn't trying to get the community center done this year, I would have chose mushrooms, but then I went fishing. Day 17, I was able to get to level 8 fishing, but on day 18, I didn't level up at all. But on day 19, it was raining, and I managed to get to level 9, so now all I have to do is eat a trout soup and catch the legend. So you see how I said that like it would be easy? Yeah, that's because every time I catch the legend, it was one of the easiest legendary fish to catch. But I guess this time it decided to make a fool out of me, because I had to redo the day 3 separate times. And let me tell you, it wasn't just redoing an entire day of work that pissed me off. It was having to go over to Willie's, wait for him to open, buy trout soup, and then fish till I got to level 9, and then trying to get the legend on the hook. Yeah, most times I never even got it on the hook. On one of the retries, I got it once. But hey, I got it in the end, and I almost cried when I did. Come on. I've been doing this for so long. Please. Please, 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 please. Yes! Oh my god. Thank you. Anyway, on day 20, I finally got to do something else and mined all day, but on my way back home, I got the Linus cutscene where he asked if he's wrong for digging in people's garbage. And of course I told him that's always okay, and in fact, he should do it way more often. Day 21, my strawberries were ready to harvest, and when I went to the traveling cart, I got a duck egg, a bottle of wine, and a moral. But day 22 and 23 was spent trying to get to the bottom of the mines as quickly as possible. And I gave my axe to Clint to upgrade. Day 24 was the flower dance, and as everyone knows, the first year flower dance sucks. And if you don't know why, it's because you're going to want to do actual work instead of talking to these plebs in spring of year 1. So it's kind of difficult to get people to 4 hearts while running a farm and constantly being broke. But on day 25, I learned that you can trade your Jewels of the Sea books for cave jelly, which if you didn't know, cave jelly is the worst jelly to try and find in Stardew Valley. The best place to get it is the lake on floor 100 of the mines, and most of the times you're just fishing up junk. Speaking of the mines, I went there and got to floor 80. Then on day 26, I got the star drop, and wait, what's my favorite thing again? Oh. Day 27, I got all the way to the bottom of the mines, and then I went all the way back up just to go back in and start mining for copper ore, which I smelted on day 28, and while waiting for the copper to smelt, I finished the boiler room and got an apple tree from Pierre. And with the newly smelted copper, I made sprinklers. On day 29, I bought my summer seeds along with 100 wheat seeds and then spent the entire day planting and watering them, except for the wheat seeds. Wheat is actually a summer and fall crop, and I sincerely doubt it won't rain less than 4 days in 2 seasons. Day 30 was a day like any other, fishing until I passed out. Day 31 was the day I actually decided to give Maru a gift and work on marrying her, but after talking to her for literally 3 seconds, I went straight to the mines to work on getting gold. I know this is kinda stupid, but I love when the shadow shamans get low health and then immediately run to the corner like a toddler. Nothing brings me more joy in the mines than seeing the monsters try and fail to run from me. On day 32, I got the crimson fish after like 20 minutes. Not an hour and 20 minutes. You know, like how long it took to get the legend. On day 33, I went foraging. That's it. That's literally all I did. But on day 34, I went to the frozen levels of the mines to kill the death sprites in order to get the burglar's ring, and somehow I got a prismatic shard. This is great because now I can donate this to the museum, which is what I would say if I was a massive loser. You think I'm gonna donate a possibly rare mineral to a museum that I would have to pay money to see again? No, I'm gonna do the responsible thing and walk up to this weird altar thing and trade it for a literal space weapon. But that'll have to wait because I am far too broke to afford something that costs the average New York apartment. On day 35, I finally got started on completing the barn and coop goal and purchased a barn from Robin, and after I went fishing, which I did again for day 36 and 37. Day 38 was Maru's birthday, giving us 5 hearts, but my joy was short-lived because when I went to sell eggs to Pierre, Day 39 was the luau, and after talking to the villagers, I donated a nice gold star sturgeon, and of course, the governor loved it. On day 40, I went to the traveling cart and got a rabbit's foot. And a piece of cloth, but who cares. Someone out there loves me because this rabbit foot has saved me so much time and heartache. Who cares what else I did today? That's enough. Day 41 was a rainy day and also harvest day for my melons, and after selling my melons and getting my barn upgrade, I went fishing. Then on day 42, I went back to the mines in order to finish the Dust Sprite goal, which didn't happen, so I'll have to come back, which I did on day 43 and still didn't reach it. But I also got the cute Maru cutscene where we look at the stars through a telescope and basically talk about the meaning of life. So I consider this day a success. On day 44, the green rain had descended upon the valley, so to make good use of this day, I took down trees and tried to get as much moss as possible while the villagers watched in fear. And on day 45, everything was back to normal, so I went fishing while the villagers deal with the trauma from yesterday. On day 46, I went mining, and after getting the last barn upgrade, I went mining again on day 47. I know I haven't been documenting it, but I have been giving strawberries to Maru, and on day 48, I got a bouquet and gave it to Maru. And after what felt like years, I finally got the burglar ring. Day 49 and 50 were spent fishing in celebration for my new ring and relationship, but day 51 was smelting metal for quality sprinklers and clearing more trees around my farm. On day 52, I got a pig and I spent 5 minutes thinking of the name Watermelon, and then I got a goat that I named Rumple. And I don't know why my new baby goat looks like someone who would steal a lady's firstborn, but God forbid a goat has a hobby. My last batch of melons were ready to be harvested on day 53, and I finally started working on my coop upgrades. And on day 54, I got the sweet gemberry seed and went fishing. On day 55, after harvesting my wheat, I went to get the fish smoker recipe, but it's Saturday, and Willie doesn't work on Saturdays, so now I won't be able to get the recipe until the second day of fall. After complaining to Willie about how I wish he would just go in and give me the recipe, I went foraging instead. Day 56 was another mining day, but this time it was for a different reason than slaughtering the innocent. Kinda. This time I went to the mines to get the rest of the dwarf scrolls I need, but I didn't get anything, so I decided to head to the Moonlight Jellies Festival, and nothing happened, which is expected. On day 57, fall is finally here, and fall is my best season money-wise, so I start the season off right by buying almost 200 pumpkin seeds and spending the entire day planting and watering them. This isn't even all the pumpkins I'm gonna grow. I'm literally gonna buy almost 200 more in like 2 weeks. But it's a good thing I spent all those resources on sprinklers, because on day 58, Lewis tells me he has more work for me to do and shows me the bulletin board, but I said screw you and ran over to Willie's in order to finally get my fish smoker recipe. And after making my fish smokers, I smoked the catfish that I saved. On day 59, I got my duck that I named Quaker Oats, and if you noticed a potential pun, no you didn't, because I am clearly smart enough to think of all potential jokes here. I also upgraded my house, so now all we need is for it to rain to get the mermaid's pendant. The community center is looking really good. We have almost everything turned in, or going to have turned in pretty soon, except for the red cabbage, which if you don't know, you can only get in year 2 of summer or from the traveling cart. And I haven't gotten it at all, so it's not looking too good. But on day 60, I somehow managed to kill a bug and get 2 prismatic shards, and then somehow on the same day, I get 2 of the 3 dwarf scrolls that I need. But you know, that's not that lucky. I mean, I could have gotten it all in the same day. And look, I didn't get it on day 61. On day 62, I got the last scroll. Listen, I know this is really good for the game, but I just know that the moment my luck runs out, I'm going to have a horrible time. On day 63, I donated to the museum, and it looks like we're getting close to finally being able to change the stupid fishing profession that I didn't mean to click on, and it's not my fault. Turns out I was closer to it than I thought, because on day 64, Gunther gives me the sewer key, and I finally see the dog statue that I just realized is named the Statue of Uncertainty. But before I go to bed and change professions, I cleared out the farm some more. On day 65 and 66, I went fishing, and I swear I don't know how this happened, but on day 66, I got not 1, but 2 dinosaur eggs, nearly back to back. On day 67, I decided this was the perfect day to get the 2 legendary fish I have yet to get, and because these are the easiest legendary fish to get, I get them pretty easily. And this may be seen as a sin to some, but after I got the radioactive carp, I went home to get my crimson fish and the legend, and smoked all of them so I can sell them. Listen, the amount of joy I get from seeing my profits rise is a lot more than I would have gotten just from putting them in a tank. I don't care about fish other than the amount of money they give me. And look at that, the money speaks for itself. On day 68, I am once again reminded that the traveling cart lady is the only one I can trust to pull through when I need her. I finally got the stupid red cabbage seed, which is great because I'm very very close to getting the greenhouse, and it looks like I'll be able to complete the community center this year. I was also able to complete the vault in the community center. On day 69, it finally started raining and I got the mermaid's pendant. I also got Maru's 10 heart event, and after I proposed, I immediately ran to the desert to get the galaxy sword. Then I went back to go catfishing in the river. On day 70, I finished my pumpkins and finished the fishing bundle, and on day 71, I gave my pickaxe to Clint and unsurprisingly fished for the rest of the day. On day 72, I went to the Stardew Valley Fair and decided to showcase my many goodies, and I swear, if I put a prismatic shard in and Pierre still wins with my crops, I'm going to murder Pierre and then Lewis. Oh hey Lewis, what place did I get? Second place. Anyway, I got the rare crow, the star drop, and the prize ticket. On day 73, me and Maru got married, and instead of staying with my new wife and, taking the day off, I decided to go to the Skull Caverns and show Maru just what to expect from marrying the farmer who seems to be doing literally everyone else's job. I also went to Skull Caverns again on day 74, and then on day 75 I went fishing, but day 76 was really interesting because I got a silo and gave my axe to Clint. See? I do more than fishing and mining. Kind of. Then on day 76, I went back to the mines, but on day 77, I finished the pantry bundle and traded with the desert trader. The next day, I finally started growing my red cabbage, and I got a new baby dinosaur that I named after you. And then I went straight back to fishing. On day 79, I bought the star drop from Krobus and gave Clint my pickaxe to get the final upgrade. I also went home and cleared some trees, and on day 80, I finally finished clearing my farm of wood, trees, and debris, except for rocks. Then on day 81, I got some artifact troves from the desert trader and went to Clint's to break into them. Then I went home with my iridium pickaxe to break the rocks on my farm. Then after doing some manual labor that a farmer would actually do, I go to the ocean to get the super cucumber for the robot statue, which I got. Look at him! What a distinguished gentleman! Day 82 was another rainy day and I went fishing again. But day 83 was my last harvest day for this year, and after harvesting all my pumpkins, I gave my sweet gemberry to Master Cannoli, and then I met the dwarf and bought the dwarvish safety manual to protect me from myself. But before I was able to go to the festival, I went mining, but nothing happened, and other than getting the golden pumpkin, nothing happened at the festival either. On day 84, I got the last coop upgrade and also got the big chest recipe from Robin. I also got the Pinky Lemon statue. Now all I need to do is get 2 hearts with Vincent to get the Forogeumon statue. I think that's how you say it. On day 85, Krobus decides to pretend he doesn't know me, and when I go to tell him about his car's extended warranty, he gives me a magnifying glass and runs all the way back to the sewers. After scaring the magnifying glass off of Robus, I go to Vincent's to give him a grape and finally get the Forogeumon statue. Then in order to finish the community center, I still need the crocus, nautilus shell, and a snow yam. I got the crocus fairly easily, but I wasn't able to get the nautilus shell or the snow yam. But on day 86, after Maru gave me a star draw, I found a nautilus shell and then hoed around on the beach until I got my snow yam. Then, after 86 days, I finally said goodbye to those greedy Junimos. On day 87, I was finally recognized as the most important person in this godforsaken town, and while I know realistically I should punch the owner of Joja than the manager of Joja, I just really love when Morris flies out of frame. It's cathartic, in a way. After relaxing, I went to the dwarf and bought some bombs and cleared out the quarry. I also did a bit of mining. On day 88, it was off to see the wizard at the bus stop where he talked about his ex-wife, and honestly, I zoned out because, dude, I don't care that your marriage fell apart. I'm just trying to get through this year. To sum up his life story, he had this magical ink that his ex-wife took from him, and dude, you're a wizard. Can't you just make more? Anyway, he wants us to go see Krobus and ask him for the talisman. Krobus did have it, but he left it in the insect-infested part of the sewer. I did get the talisman, but I won't be able to get the ink until a couple days later, considering I'm short on bribes. On day 89, I decided to add another mini challenge for myself and try to get all skills to level 10. I mean, I'm almost there, so all I really need to do is get combat and foraging up. So to get combat to level 10, I went to the mines and killed innocent creatures that have done nothing to me. You know, like a true American. Day 90, I gave the henchman some void mayonnaise, to which he said, "Thanks man, I'm just not gonna do my job anymore, and you'll never see me again." And honestly, that makes him my favorite NPC barrier. Mans just want his void mayonnaise, and honestly, I respect it. After breaking and entering, I got the magic ink and gave it to the wizard, and after, I went foraging around Pelican Town. On day 91, I worked on my combat skill. On day 92, I went to the fishing festival and won because fishing is easy, it's just annoying as all hell. On day 93, I got my new iridium axe from Clint and procrastinated on getting the glacier fish by cutting down some trees. On day 94, I planted some pinecone seeds so when they grow, I can try to finish the foraging skill. And after that, it was time to make like a big corporation and partake in mass deforestation. But after 95 days, it was time for me to finally finish my legendary fish goal and try to get the glacier fish. But I actually ended up getting the iridium rod and a trap bobber. Then on day 96, I got the glacier fish, and to celebrate, I decided to see what Willie wanted me to see in his back room, just to figure out it was more work that Mayor Lewis, the cheapskate, should be doing. After getting roped into more work that I shouldn't be doing, I decided to go home and do a bit of organizing and decorating. Day 97 was a foraging day, but on day 98, my pine trees finally grew, but I didn't get to level 10. But the good news is that I got to level 10 in everything else. So to finish up the 100 days, I decided to smelt some ore for sprinklers for next year. I was still smelting ores on day 98, and I also planted my ancient seeds and coffee beans. Day 99 was here, and even though I got all my goals completed, I still felt pretty unaccomplished. So in a desperate attempt to impress people, I decided to try to get a floor 100 in Skull Caverns on the last day. But in order to get as much time as possible, I went over to the desert trader so I could get the desert totem, and she wasn't there. Literally the only time I need her to be there, she isn't there. This is fine, because I can still manage to get to the floor 100 with a little bit of luck, and considering how much luck I've already had, it's not looking too good. Day 100 is here, and because I can't get there any earlier than 10 a.m., I decided to get some small things over with, like doing a bit of crafting and getting some bombs from the dwarf. And then finally I made it to Skull Caverns, and it was time to follow my destiny. And while I came so close to making it to floor 100, I got to floor 96 and passed out. But I always did want to go with a bang. And that was it. 100 days of Stardew Valley. There was love, a lot of luck, like seriously, what was with that double prismatic shard grab, and some uncompleted goals. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a lot of fun to be able to complete 100 days and encapsulate all the work I did into a single video. I can't wait to work on this farm some more. Bye!